SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 146. That's right. After a year and some change, I'm back. I've talked to many people about how much I miss doing the show. I brought the show back, and one of the greatest common things, people don't know this, if you've talked to me about the show, one of the things that have always been a reoccurring theme of, if I bring the show back, I'm going to change it up, we're going to have different hosts. No more Melissa, no more waffles every week. We can't do that anymore. We need to change it up for our new era. So who do I get for my first one-on-one show? Everyone, let me introduce my new co-host, Melissa.
Hi.
Literally, because all of you out there in the world who are friends with me, everyone bought Catherine.
But none of them beat it.
Me and Melissa are the only ones who beat it.
Everybody else was like, yeah, I just want the special edition, and I've already played it before, so it's going to sit on my shelf.
Yeah.
Maybe after I'm done with Monster Hunter or something. Well,
we all wanted that cute little sheep plush, which was a cute plushie.
I don't know where he went, to be honest.
I hope he just he became sentient and like Pet Cemetery now haunts your house. So, Melissa, you and I have been away for a while. You've been living the anime life with Jesus Kirby.
Jesus Kirby.
We don't want to be going down memory lane too much, but I thought in between each of our sections, it might be fun to take one thing that each of us have been up to and kind of trade off and on. Do you want to go first? What's one thing over the last year and a half where you have not been on podcasts that has been an interesting memory or something you want to share with the listeners?
We went to NakaCon and I saw Spencer for the second time.
I'm a lot hairier.
He's got a beard.
Unfortunately, it's all on my face, and I need to shave again.
And we went to NakaCon, and I met all the friends, and we cosplayed Dragon Quest. And
oh yeah, that was Dragon Quest Con.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
And we...
By the way, a little bit of housekeeping, speaking of conventions. I have made it my life goal...
To do what?
To have as many panels as possible at next year's NakaCon in March of 2020, and at next year's TaioCon in also 2020. So if you would like to tweet or write letters to your congressman to beg them to let us get as many panels as possible,
go to another con.
I would greatly appreciate that. Because I
come over here
to TaioCon. Go to where?
I told you to go to ACEN or something.
I know, but see, I've missed Arizona so bad.
Well, I get it. I get it. Your dad's there.
No, he's not. This is how long it's been. My dad is he's now a California boy.
Oh, you could still visit.
With Pulse and Line. They live in a duplex together.
No, you don't even know them.
That'd be a fantastic, if they were neighbors and didn't know it. My dad and his wife, and then Pulse and Line just have no idea that they have me as a memory who they don't even remember.
They barely do. Perfect. They met you once.
Exactly. Twice, actually. And I sat in their room for way too long.
No, I say once because it was one time, and then, another time we'll be meeting you, years later or something. That's how I see it.
Well, I'm just happy that my pants weren't on for both occasions in their room. I consider that a great success.
Hi, we're in your room. Are you decent?
No.
No.
Not at all. So... we're going to get into this, and just assume that everyone knows who we are, because really we're just conduits to talk about Shin Megami Tensei, which is also funny that we're bringing back Shin Megami Tensei Network to talk about a not SMT game. But you know what?
Close enough.
As a great man,
Sega.
As a great man like myself once said, it's all canon. I don't care what you say, they're all canon.
All of them are canon.
Every single game canon. Jack Bros is as canon as Catherine, in my opinion.
All the endings are canon. They're all possible.
So, we're going to get started. We've done our little tell everyone to beg that Spencer can get a panel, because it's been too long since he's done panels.
Call your congressman.
But we're going to get into it. So earlier this month, because we're recording this at the end of September, Catherine Full Body came out on PlayStation 4 only.
Heck yeah. Mhm.
Not the Vita. We will probably not get into that because most people don't care about the Vita.
Not in America. We won't get one in America. Ever.
By the way, I will say, actually, if you are interested in the Vita version, it is extremely expensive, got an incredibly tiny print run in Japan, and it is a fantastic, fantastic port. But we're not here to talk about that Moon's version. We're going to talk about the North American one, and I'd like to start by not talking about the collector's edition, not talking about our initial impressions. Can we just take a quick moment and give a nice generic sound effect round of applause? Like, can we actually both clap here for Troy Baker doing his first anime game since Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4? Way to go, buddy. Brought it back.
He came back? That's amazing.
Way to go. You lowered the bar enough to come back and do a fucking Weeb game.
But he couldn't come back for Tales of Vesperia, right?
Well, I think Troy Baker's in that weird camp of... Because actually, Troy Baker, this is kind of in the news if you care about Borderlands, which, as I know, as a fan of both SMTN and Borderlands, I am the only one. Fun fact, because he is part of the union, a lot of games and like developers and stuff don't kind of hire union stuff because there's a whole bunch of other hurdles and stuff they usually have to jump over.
Yeah.
That's why kind of... I'd say around 2015, 2016, you started seeing a lot of new voices like
Matt Mercer,
and Ray Chase, all those scabs.
Scab voice What do you call them, scabs?
I don't know. Where do you think the term scab came from for like someone who like wasn't part of a union?
I don't know. Like someone who like sounds like that other person, but they're replacing them in the role, like they did with
I don't know.
With Kanji.
I'll say a very controversial opinion right now.
Yeah.
I like Ray Chase as Reese in Borderlands 3. I'm not going to say anything about that because most people probably haven't played it. But Ray Chase,
he's a good voice actor.
Troy Baker, great voice actor.
It's great.
Great job. Either way, now we're going to get back to it. Now that we've given Troy Baker the round of applause he deserves, so we don't want to scare him away. Please do more anime games. People like you in anime, apparently.
Definitely.
So, Catherine Full Body came out. I picked up the special edition. Did you also pick up the special edition, Melissa? Alright, so we're going to get into this. We're not actually going to judge the game, but I'd like to pick your brain on this really quick. So it was $80. We got the game in a metal case. It's not a steelbook. I've been through many arguments with the...
I don't get it.
It is not a steelbook. Literally, even the community manager at Atlas, who I cherish and adore, she is a very, very nice lady. She was like, no, I talked to the people who made it, like the people at Scanova who make steelbooks. They were like, no, this is made by them. I was like, I guarantee this is not made by them. You can tell it's not a steelbook because the spines will always usually have a name, and on the inside, the word steelbook will be on there. That's kind of like how you know it's like a steelbook. But I will say, the design on the like front and back cover is really, really great. That illustration is fantastic. I don't know how anyone who bought that collector's edition does not feel gypped.
I don't feel gypped.
Because we don't get a slip cover for that metal case, and the spine is just bright pink and has no letters.
What do you mean by no slip cover?
So there is a launch edition that came out for the game. And the launch edition basically is the same thing. It's the metal case with the game, but it has a plastic slip cover so that the spine actually says what the game name is. We did not get that in the West. So now if you put your copy of Catherine Full Body on the shelf, outside of the fact that it's probably the only pink metal case you own, there's no way for you to know that that's what game it is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So as someone who like doesn't care about like cases and stuff, does this just have no like? Do you not care about this?
No, looks pretty. I don't really care.
Wow, I must sound like such a man baby. I hated that so much. Like that case, I think is like 90% good, but was 10% away from being a really, really great case. Still a really cool thing to have in the collector's edition. The other stuff it included was a hardcover art book. Which, fun fact, if you saw my unboxing video, I did a comparison of all the editions of Catherine from the Japanese, American, and the original PS3. The hardcover art book is actually the softcover art book, but edited. They took out a couple of controversial pieces from the Japanese release.
Oh, like what?
You know what's weird, and
like
I didn't
more
notice this
nudity
until...
and stuff?
No, that's what's weird. The only concept art they took out was all of the promotional images showing Ren with her skirt up. Do you remember when they announced the game like a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And all the images were her with the skirt up in like faded?
Yep.
If you go back, they've never used any of that for the Western marketing. Which on one hand
so
I found interesting. Yeah, because it's like on one hand it's interesting, and then on the other hand it's like I get it. You don't want to start anything, but it just seems odd to not include it in the art book.
I thought there was like one. But that was it.
No, it's
I'd
not.
have to look at
I
it.
did a page by page, very thorough. These eyes have been through a lot of Catherine and Catherines. So came with the hardcover art book.
Yep.
And what else am I forgetting? We didn't get a CD.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think. No, we did get a CD. Yes, we have a CD.
Yep. Was it
Sorry,
long one? Isn't there like 20 tracks on it? Pretty good.
You say long one, and so have you seen the Japanese collector's edition?
What? It was like 40 tracks.
4 CDs.
Oh, jeez, it's like all of them.
Comes with 4 CDs: an audio commentary CD, the original full game soundtrack, and then a 2-disc full soundtrack to.
Well,
Catherine
if we got that, you know how much that would cost? It'd probably cost us like $150, $200. Would you still buy it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think I bought my Vita version for like $100 and. I think I got it for like a pretty good deal. It was over MSRP because those collector's editions are also really expensive, but I think I got mine for like $130. But yeah, so we got the CD, so thank you for letting me remember that, and the Stray Sheep plushie, which is really cute. And if you have the Persona Q2 collector's edition, it's basically the same size and kind of material as the Koromaru plushie.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I will say this. I appreciated the fact that the wool actually kind of felt like a different sort of cotton. It didn't just feel like a sewn-on pattern.
Yeah.
So, as two people who bought the collector's edition day one, were you happy with what it included? Were you like, oh, it's okay? Like, how does it kind of like range for you in terms of like at launch video game collector's prices? Like, were you happy?
I think it's pretty standard for the price. I mean, if it were like $30, $20 more, I don't think it would have been worth it. You know? I think that would have been too much.
What was your favorite part of the set?
Probably the art book, and the sheep.
The art book is a tough pick. I'm gonna have a weird one. I love that the inside of the box is made out of the blocks from the game. I think the box is a really cool touch. So that is us talking about plastic. Mm-hmm. Still available because remember it's 2019. Atlas games don't sell out anymore.
Nope.
Sad face. Remember when Atlas games used to be rare?
Yeah. What were those games?
I was talking to fellow SMT fan who I always forget his online name, but we'll just call him John.
Yeah.
Local SMT friend of mine. Mm-hmm. We were talking about like old rare Atlas games and how like the prices have fluctuated in so many different ways and stuff. But like you'll never see like a copy of anything Atlas has made in the last 10 years be rare, really.
Yeah. I mean, couldn't you still get that like SMT4 collection? It wasn't really a collection. It was just like the CD and like a small guidebook. You could still probably get that.
Oh, that one? I'd actually be curious to see what that goes for, because I feel like for a while that was really cheap, but I actually bet you that's actually pretty pricey now, because there's a few oddities that have been rare recently. Mm-hmm. Like Persona Q, getting a copy of Persona Q is going to cost you more than $50 nowadays.
Yeah, I think that one was more limited.
Yeah, and that's just the standard edition. Like if you are counting like the console and like the premium edition, that's going to be like even pricier.
It doesn't seem like it's that much. I'm only saying like $76.
But
still
like,
kind of
considering how most Atlas games have been pretty much like around 20. I feel like you can get almost any Atlas game from the last 10 years for $20 or less.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's kind of go into the game, and I want to shut up for a few minutes and get your initial impressions, Melissa, of Catherine Full Body, starting it up, and what your first playthrough was like.
Okay. Well, first playthrough, I didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to do the rim route, but then I didn't know that you were supposed to answer them like neutral. You know what I mean? And then I got...
Well, it's weird because, yeah, you had beaten the game actually before me, right?
Yeah. like a few hours before you.
You asked me how to get the Ren route. And
then I had
who
to
did you
look
get
it
for your
up.
first go?
I think I just got like a normal one for Catherine.
Okay. So the weird thing, if anyone doesn't know this, and we're gonna have spoilers. Like, we're not gonna go through every ending, but we're just gonna, obviously, like, the game's been out for a while. If you want to avoid it, you can avoid it. The weird thing with accessing Ren's route, and there's multiple versions of Ren's route, which makes it even more confusing, is you'll know you're answering, there are, I think, it's like anywhere between 4 or 6 select questions, and if it makes your...
If it cracks.
If it makes your meter crack instead of go left or right, that means you're going on the correct thing. So you have to answer those specific questions, and then basically you have to play through 2/3 of the game, and it's going to feel like the same Catherine from 2011. And then once you get to the Ren stuff, it gets very, very different. But yeah, I'll let you keep going. So how did you play through the rest of your first playthrough once you realized you'd missed out on the Ren stuff?
I just played it normally. I didn't try to go like one way or the other, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, you're going for Catherine now, and I'm like, but I didn't even, like... I was just confused.
Mad? Because I played my first time playing Full Body actually was the Japanese version, when I played it on Vita back in February.
Yeah.
Were you mad because when I was trying to go for Ren as well my first time, but like not playing in English and trying to go for her is basically like a fool's game? So the weird thing with that was there's a scene in the game, whether you've befriended Ren or not, where she basically kind of bolts out of your life for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and then you just like really never see her again.
Didn't it feel like when that happens, it's really unfair and doesn't convey to you, hey, you messed up?
Yeah.
It almost makes it seem like, oh, I can still get her back, but
you can't. You screw up there. She just like...
Yeah, that was my first playthrough. I literally did the worst ending for Bachelor Vincent. Like, I think my ending is like the one where he's like out in the rain, like walking alone. And like, oh, that's my ending.
Well, I got the one where it was like, you call Catherine and then like, she's like, oh, we could be together, and then you're in the bed with her and the boss is there for some reason. And it's like hell outside. And then I saved a certain point so I could change the different answers, and then I guess you got the new Catherine one, because there's different endings for both Catherines. The one where everyone was upset because like she made you go back in time to high school so she could meet you in high school.
Do you want to get that out of the way?
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
The whole Erica thing?
Yeah, so like Catherine takes you back in time so she can meet you. Yeah,
we should point this out.
Yeah, so then like everybody's there, and then like your friend, like what was it, Paul or something? He's still alive.
Yeah, the guy who died in the beginning. You're all back in high school. So
and then,
no Toby.
Like,
there's Erica.
Erica like is still Eric, and then Vincent gets with Catherine, and then it fast forward to a few years later, and then Erica is still Eric, and then Toby's there. And they're getting married with Catherine, and then like Catherine with a K is with that other guy.
Yeah, can I just say how weird that is? That like do we know who that guy is?
That's
or
their
is it
friend.
Just, like,
same guy.
Wait, the guy with the glasses on the piano was Paul?
Yeah. Or whatever his name was. I don't know.
Oh no, you're right. No, it
and
is
they're like,
Paul,
oh, you guys
Paul...
next, and they're like, you gotta get a better job or something.
Oh man, I never put that together.
Yeah.
Because you see so little of Paul.
Yeah, you don't like see him at all.
In my brain, I was like, who's this Joe Schmo dude or whatever? Because I was talking to you about this like in PMs and stuff.
Yeah.
I still find it amazing that there is no ending in Catherine where Orlando ends up with Catherine with a K.
No. And then...
Because there's the whole subplot of him wanting to like cheat on his best friend's girlfriend, and it never goes anywhere.
Yep. And then, was it Toby's like, oh man, I wish there was a girl that would sweep me off my feet, and then Eric goes, maybe they're like, you know, close by, maybe they're coming soon or something like that. But
man, Aaron Fitzgerald better fucking watch your ass.
And
your Eric impression is spot on.
And then everyone's like, oh, Catherine changed the future, so Erica didn't transition. It's like, maybe she just didn't transition yet?
Yeah, so if anyone is listening to this and doesn't know what the brouhaha was, basically back in the game's original release back in February, there was a lot of mistranslations going around, and the way that some of the endings have been described is usually the best ending with someone, like a specific character, will be called the true ending. And so people thought that the best true ending for C. Catherine, the fact that Erica was still Eric at the time, even after the 7 years later time skip, that means that they were basically saying, oh, the best ending is only if Erica stays a man, which is not the case, because there are many, many, many other endings where Erica still transitions into, where Eric still transitions into Erica.
Yeah, like normally.
And yeah, and what's so funny is, like, people were so worried, and even myself, I remember I spoiled myself when the Japanese version came out. I was like, I need to know what Ren is. Because, man, depending on how they did it, they could have really blown it up. And hilariously, I want to get into this a little bit later, because I have a lot to say about Ren.
Yep.
So, ironically, they handled the whole, like, topic of, like, trans characters or even like cross-dressing characters, and actually I'll look it up for later when we talk about Ren, because there is some confusion, because Ren does not technically classify as someone who is trans or even a cross-dresser. There's a specific word that one of the directors used on it, or one of the producers, and I'll kind of explain it a bit later. But yeah, so there was this whole hubbub about the game basically being super transphobic, people trying to boycott the game, and lo and behold, all the voice actors and all the people who worked on the game said, hey, everyone, just hold on, wait till the release is out and you can see the context. And so all these people who were ganging up and trying to basically cancel the game because we live in a society now, har har har, now when the game comes out, did you see anyone trying to start shit about it?
No. I just...
No!
And
the thing that made me most mad is that no one was even trying to apologize, which of course would be too much to ask, but it'd be like, I knew many people, like I have people that I had on my friends list who were straight up like, fuck Atlas, fuck this game, like you guys are ruined as a company. And to be fair, Atlas has a really bad reputation. Atlas has a really bad reputation for handling certain character plotlines.
I hear people more talking about how Ryuji is handled pretty badly in this one scene in Persona 5, more than I hear stuff about Catherine. Like, people are bringing this up, like, almost 3 years or so after it even happened.
I gotta say, though, and we might even talk about this in later episodes or whatnot, when Royal kind of gets closer, I still think Royal has a really big chance to be something really crazy and different, because Atlas has never wiped the slate so clean for a remake before. Which will come up with this, because boy, let me tell you, the amount of stuff they actually added to Full Body, while being interesting, Full Body is still, I feel safe to say, 75% the same game we played 8 years ago.
Yeah, unless they change things, like if you get with different people for social links, you get to like have a different ending or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but I know there'll definitely be people who import it, and I don't even want to know what happens until this actual game comes out.
I don't think we will, because I mean, if you remember when P5 came out, there was some like ending spoilers that were floating around, but I think with something like this, where it's so much new stuff, it's going to be a lot harder to just like stumble across. Whereas like when Golden came out, really all we had added was like a few extra social link aspects.
Well, that
was
a new ending, pretty much completely. I mean, I don't know if they'll do that. They might. They probably will. They've
already confirmed to us there's a lot of like new endings, and like honestly, the story is primarily going to be different, but a whole lot of other like little changes. Okay, so Catherine thing. We're going to get into the Rin aspect of it. We'll get into it a lot more later, but as far as the whole Erica thing is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so how would you, like, now that you'd seen it in context, the ending with it, like, did you feel like they'd handled Erica?
Well, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, people were just blowing it out of proportion, you know? Like, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, and it could have been like, I don't have any, intention to transition now, because oh, my life is all better.
They don't even focus on it.
It's just sort of
like there's not
subtle.
a moment. Like, there's not a moment in the story where they're like, boy, let me tell you, keeping this ding-dong sure would make my life easier.
I mean, like, if you didn't know before, like, you know, from playing the game before, you wouldn't have known that Erica was originally, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, the game hints at it, especially nowadays. Yeah. They hint at it a lot more, less subtly. Mm-hmm. But I think that's because of major story things that happen later on.
Yeah, because you remember how
what are you getting?
She was having nightmares and, like,
what?
Everybody else but Toby was, because Toby was just, like, a pure boy. But then, like, Erica was having them, and then it's like, guess what, guys, I had sex with her. It's like, but it was really weird. And they're like, changing the subject.
Can I just say, I would like to know, since Toby was a virgin, how does he know that it's weird?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't just all sex probably be weird to him?
Well, maybe he just, like, watched porn and stuff like that, but, like, it didn't look like the way, like, he saw it.
Because the funny thing about, like, Erica is not even, like, oh, she's, like, kind of hiding the fact that she used to be male. It's like, she very, like, publicly, and, like, she's very, like, much an extrovert in terms of her, like, femininity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she always, like, is even calling herself, like, the mom of the group and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd be very surprised if she had gotten breast surgery, but not, like, bottom surgery as well.
Oh.
But that is neither here nor there.
I feel like maybe she did, but, like, there are certain surgeries I've heard of that can do all that, but, like, it's not really the same. I don't know. I don't really want to get into it because I don't know everything. Yeah.
Hard to believe a couple of Midwestern studs like ourselves aren't the experts on trained reconstructive surgery.
Yeah.
So, one little thing I want to get into, because I, for some level of dumb luck, because when you had told me you missed out on Ren's playthrough,
at first,
I was actually, I was perfectly at night 6 where her events start, and Ren still runs away.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh god, I messed up, and then I looked it up, and I was like, wait, no, I did all the right stuff. So basically, like, the game kind of turns on its head. So for the most part, Catherine Full Body, you can play it completely the same as you did with Catherine back in 2011 on PS3 and 360. Like, all the old, like, story and stuff is still there, and for the most part, unless you're trying to get the, like, new endings with, like, Ren, you're probably not going to see anything, and all the content is still the same.
Right.
So this is the weird thing about that. When I got Ren's story progressing more and more, and the big twist with her. So I knew this going into it. I had it spoiled to me that Ren was not a girl. Ren was an alien. That's like the first thing I had.
Yeah, like at first everybody thought, oh, Ren's an angel because of the angel wings on the back.
Well, no, because remember the thing was first, oh, she's secretly a guy.
Right.
Or then it was, oh, she's an angel. And then you find out the real answer is that she's actually an alien. So that's what I knew going in. So, but the way the game works as a story is you have this scene with Vincent where he finds out that she is a boy. Like, she has male genitalia. And it's really interesting the way the game handles it, because I remember when it happened in English, I was like, because there's no way to avoid the cutscene of Vincent basically lashing out against her.
Yeah.
Because the same scene where she...
she, yeah. They...
Well, yeah. The same scene where... That's the weird thing about Ren.
Because, like, they look like a girl, but, like...
Well, yeah, that's the interesting thing about Ren, where... Because Ren goes by basically any kind of pronoun or name, but dresses primarily feminine, but does not identify as feminine, which is very interesting. I should actually go to the actual name.
I saw, like... a wiki that was like using she at first, but then like when that is revealed they switch to he or something like that.
Yes, yeah, that does happen in the game. And so here, let me get the actual quote here. So upon its release, it was actually revealed that the proper way to pronounce this, and I'm going to butcher this, so holy hell and back. Ren identifies as an Oto Konoko, which is basically the equivalent of a crossdresser, but is a little bit different in the sense of, like, kind of they're not going to be like a stickler, like, oh, if you call him a guy or if you call him a girl and stuff like that. And you can look up Otokonoko as well. It's like a thing that if I'm not mistaken, started late 90s, early 2000s in Japanese culture, and it's still a thing,
interesting.
But is not super, super well known, which is kind of what makes it interesting that they didn't just pick, oh, Ren like used to be a guy, as I think it was much a bold choice, especially for them and their team, to have Ren just straight up be a guy when you find out in the story, and then how the story handles it is so interesting. Of like, when I'm playing through a lot of this, when I was playing through Catherine in high school when the original one came out, I used to relate so much to Vincent's choices and thought, oh man, I can really feel where like Vincent's coming from now. But like skip ahead to 2019 when I was replaying Full Body. Oh my god, there are so many scenes up until the Ren story really starts going. I hate Vincent. There's so many scenes because like,
you hated him back then, or you hate him now?
No, I loved him back then. I hated playing through him in the beginning now.
Okay.
Because like there are so many moments where the game just like it gives you choices, but like at such like moments that don't matter to characters. Like your choices are affecting your ending, yes, but you're not making choices when it comes to like sitting down at the bar with Catherine. You're making choices away from other people. Like, I think if there was, like, a live conversation choice meter, like, if you could actually choose what you wanted to say to Catherine when you're at the cafe with her and whatnot, and not just, here's what I'm texting her.
Here's a cutscene.
Yeah, so, like, the fact that all your choices are really basically over text for the most part with them,
like,
I found incredibly
frustrating. It was
frustrating.
all over text, and then it would still have Vincent in the cutscenes being all, like, trying to avoid Catherine, which I feel like if they put more effort into the game, they could have had different cutscenes that you could see if you were going towards Catherine, and he would be all like more over her instead of being like.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, because I think this game is funny. It succeeds as an enhanced version of the original game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went back to the PlayStation 3 version. Like Vincent is basically the same. He acts like this. The way the game is conveying choices is very, very similar. But what's so funny about that is like I think while it succeeds greatly as a game in terms of like, hey, here's an enhanced version of an original game that a lot of people consider a classic, like myself. I think by today's standards, they could have done so much more to almost remake it and redo it like they're doing with Royal right now.
Right.
Where, like, if they fine-tuned a lot of those old conversations and things like that, I feel like it would have just made the game feel a lot more modern. Because even though it takes place in an era with flip phones and stuff like that, there's a lot that people can still relate to the story of Catherine.
Sure.
And also, I'm going to say one really fun fact that I found out while researching for this episode, and I could not believe was real, and I found nothing to say that this is not true. Did you know that the world of Catherine does not take place on Earth?
Really? Where's it supposed to take place?
The world of Catherine takes place on a space colony, which, if you think, actually explains a lot of the problems that I've had in terms of the world building. Like, in the scene where you first meet Ren, how is it nighttime and there is no one out and about in the world? Like, how is this one bar only see the same 7 people?
Yeah.
And, like, very little different things like that. The space motif makes a lot of sense. There's some things you can look up into it. It does not affect the story at all, but I found it super interesting because that actually explains a lot of the weird things about the world they live in.
That is really weird. Because there would always be, like, Vincent wanted to go into space, but I'm like, don't you have to go through a lot of tests and stuff like that to be able to be an astronaut or something? That just was really weird to me. And then he gets all that money in one of the endings, and it's like, oh, hey, here I go. That was easy.
It's very, very, very weird, but super interesting. And I love learning about the intricacies of that world and stuff, and really wish that there could be more. I will say, since we're kind of talking, and this has been going all over the place, but we might as well just be kind of talking about new things they added. How did you feel about the new characters they added to, I guess they technically are bar patrons, but you don't see them unless they live at the end. The new potential side sheep that you can save at night.
Oh, I thought they were pretty cool. What was it? The oil guy.
Yeah, the Oil
The
Baron,
Oil Baron,
I really
which was
liked
great.
his relationship with the chef/singer, which, by the way, that song that you unlock if you save the chef is a fantastic
It
butt rock
sucks,
song.
like, if you can't really do New Game Plus, and you have to, like, do it again, but it's not in the jukebox again. Like, I wish there was, like, a New Game Plus feature where, like, all the songs that you unlocked were still in there, but...
Yeah, that's, like, one of the things that, like, sucks, especially, like, it's also scared me away from ever wanting to, like, try and do all the endings naturally in Catherine. Like, there's no easy way. Like, I feel like a game like Catherine would benefit a lot from a... I don't know how you would describe it. Like, a go back in time mechanic to before you made your choices, similar to how the Zero Escape series does it. Just because, like, you don't need really to replay the whole game to, like, get those different endings.
No, you can just make a save file. That's why there's a lot of things that you can put there.
I've always been a weirdo, and people have always given me a lot of shit for this. I've always lived my life, unless, like, there's some crazy thing or I'm sharing a system with other people. I've always lived, like, most of my games, I make one save for everything, and I just overwrite it, which has bit me in the ass before, but usually that's how I play all my games. But yeah, so besides those two, I'm trying to think of anyone else that's
I think that was it. It was only those two.
But yeah, I appreciated that they added more story to the nightmares, and even playing through it a second time, I loved, like, there was almost, I don't know, at least for me, going through each rest area and talking to every person, even if they were just an NPC sheep, I always enjoyed, like, hearing what they'd have to say. Ironically for me, and I don't know how you feel about this, the only things I hate about those intermission areas, I hate sharing tips.
Yeah, because I thought that you had to look at the tips, or if you say no, I'm good, that they'll hate you and then they'll die.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't know as well. It might be the case, but like the worrywart in me would always just hear it out anyway. But it was just like, I wish that there was a quick option where you could be like, hey, I've played Catherine before, and it just unlocks all the tips. Because while the tips are really good, especially if like it's your first time playing through, like for me, this is my 4th playthrough of Catherine. Like I don't need the tips. The game is hard, and there are different little ways to play it, and especially ways to make it easier. Like, I know neither of us played like this, but you can seriously put it on the easiest of easiest modes, have the game autoplay it, and just do all the choices.
Yep. You could play the game in like 2 hours. Wouldn't even take that much time.
Oh man, I feel like, see, that's the funny thing. After all these years, my opinions always stay the same about this. As much as I've always loved the world and story of Catherine, that gameplay is so addicting to me. Like, it makes me feel so stressed, but also, like, makes me feel, like, so, like, mentally, like, I'm, like, exercising, like, my brain at the same time.
I felt like it was just, I don't know what the difficulty mode I chose at first, but I couldn't beat it, so I just didn't want to play the game anymore.
That's the tough thing, because the game is unforgivingly hard. Although, actually, you looked out, it's a lot kinder with undoing, and
yeah.
I don't think there's a way to bump down the difficulty, is
There's
there?
safety, which is super easy. It's, like, way too easy for me.
No, I know that, but I mean, is there a way to bump it down while playing? Like, if you're playing on normal, could you bump down the difficulty while playing, do you think?
No, you have to go back to the main menu, I'm pretty sure. I think you can bump it down when you're in, like, the cafe, but you can't bump it down when you're in, like, a landing.
Yeah, I know you can change the difficulty when you're, like, choosing already levels you've beaten. I will say, as much as I like to think of myself as pretty competent at Catherine, every time I play through the game, there is one level I always have to look up and cheat. I think it's on it's either night 9 or night 10, I think. It's basically... It's like the shortest level in the game. You have 4 rows of columns, and you have to get to the ending. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like, you have individual, like, a column of blocks, next to it a column of blocks, column of blocks, column of blocks, and you have to find the right amount to push away, but also the right amount that you can still get up to the exit. My brain can't remember how to beat that level. Like, I always have to look it up, and I feel so dumb.
What difficulty was that?
I always do normal. I've always played normal. I'm too much of a baby for hard, but I'm always too proud to do easy.
Yeah, because I was doing safety just to get it over with, but then it was just so easy. And then I went to easy and it's just fine.
Did you ever mess around with a range mode at all? Where it basically kind of turns the game into push mode, pull mode?
For sure.
So if anyone doesn't know, the way it works is it rearranges the puzzles into really big chunks instead of one block per square. I found it okay. I, in ways, could see it making the game easier, and then there was also times of me playing that I also thought it just made the game way too unevenly hard. But yeah, rearrange mode was not my cup of tea, but classics there. Really big shout outs to this, and I know this never gets enough love. Thank God it unlocks Babel immediately from the get-go and multiplayer from the get-go without having to beat the game. And if you don't touch multiplayer or Babel, doesn't matter. Nothing, you're not winning or losing anything else. But as someone who poured countless of hours into Babel, I super, super appreciated that. Did you ever play much Babel, or...
No, not really.
Okay, I'm trying
I
to... My brain is thinking.
But, they have the competitive thing now. Did you know they're doing competitive Catherine at Youmacon, and I kind of want to watch.
You should. Competitive Catherine has been around for a couple
years. And they made, whole trophies, really, really, and then the voice actress for Rin's going to be there.
So, I gotta tell you this right now. This is major spoilers.
Yep.
But I actually forgot that this was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the ending? Do you know that you get an alternate ending to the game if you beat all 4 levels in Babel?
No. What is it?
Okay, so I don't know if this is different for full body, but I forgot this was a thing.
I just haven't gotten it.
If you finish the final level, which is Axis Mundi, you get a ending of the game where it is revealed to you that, oh my god, I'm gonna totally forget her name. Ishtar.
Yeah.
Ishtar, who was the big red-headed Afro girl, your narrator. Because actually, what does she say her name is? Because it uses the letters of Ishtar into something else.
Well, I thought that she was also that Astaroth guy that there was a voice in the thing.
No, Astaroth was one of her minions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it kind of goes into the lore-wise, it's extremely stupid. But you find out 2 things that are interesting / funny. One, you find out the main lady who's been narrating over your adventure,
Trisha,
is Ishtar, who's been doing everything the whole time. And the other bit that's really funny is that the whole ending is that she goes to your room, and basically it's implied that she just has sex with you after straightening her hair.
Oh, I saw that. It says that Trisha is an anagram of her name.
Trisha, thank you.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yes, Trisha is the anagram of Ishtar.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That I was literally looking that up right now. That was killing me so badly. Yeah, also, big shout-outs, because, there's a lot of great voice acting in this game. I feel like Erin Fitzgerald just fucking kills it as all the characters she plays in this game, specifically Trisha and especially Erica.
Mm-hmm.
So, everyone, if you're not following Erin Fitzgerald on Twitter, or she does actually a ton on Twitch. She does a lot of streaming on Twitch these days. Give her a shout-out, because she's just a super awesome, underloved voice actress, in my opinion. So we talked about some of the extra modes. I talked about some of the extra things they added. You know what? I'm amazed we didn't bring this up when we talked about it. This kind of goes into a question we have. But I want your opinion before I do a classic rant on this, because I'm a big man baby. Did you know before people complained that they removed songs from the jukebox?
No. What did they remove?
Many songs. All right, I'm going to try looking this up to pull it up. But they removed almost all of the original songs. There are no SMT songs anymore. There are
you're right.
No
there was
classic Persona songs.
There was mostly just 3, 4, and 5.
I'm going to look up all the jukebox songs, and I'll be able to tell you which ones there are. But out of the ones that were included, can you give me some time and give me your opinion on... They had songs from the original game, Full Body... Persona 4, Golden, Dancing All Night, Persona 5, a lot of songs from Persona 5, and a couple songs from Persona 3. And there were songs for Re-Fantasy's project, but those are conceptual songs.
Yeah.
Not really songs. But what did you think of the songs that were in the game?
I thought they were pretty good, but just didn't seem like there were that many. Oh, they had they had DDS songs too, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, do you already have the list? Okay, hold on. All right, I have it up now. We're not gonna go and do the Catherine songs. All right, so songs that were removed, confirmed, and if there are Catherine songs removed, I don't think there were. So Soul Phrase was removed from Persona 3 Portable, which seems weird because that seems new enough that they would have included it.
10, 12 years.
Persona 3's Memories of the City is removed. Digital Devil Saga, Avatar Tuner, and Avatar Tuner 2.
All those songs.
So we lost Configuration,
Nocturne.
God, this song. Savhistana, and Om Mani Padme.
Mm-hmm.
I forget all the songs from DDS are just
they're
basically
Hindu stuff. I can't pronounce it.
P3 FES is still in the game if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Iwatani Dorm is removed. Smile is removed from Persona 4. Brand New Days, the beginning, I think, is also still in it.
Mm-hmm.
I might be wrong on that. They removed the only song from Nocturne. Oh, sorry, there were 2 songs from Nocturne. We had Play and Title Loop. We'll just go through these a little quicker. See, we had Signs of Love, River of Samsara from DDS, Wiping All Out from P3P, Your Affection from P4. I don't know how you have that song not in there. Trisha from... Well, sorry, that's another Catherine song. Backside of TV from Persona 4. Burn My Dread. Yeah, there's just so many songs of Amazing Hand.
That wasn't in there anymore?
In my brain, I thought they had a song from SMTN.
No, they had the Fest one, but they didn't have... the Fest opening, you know what I mean? But they didn't have Burn My Dread in there anymore?
So yeah, the fact that the songs were removed is really
maybe it was
weird because
licensing
they own the rights
issues.
to all of these. No, they own the rights to all of these music songs.
And then people just take it as them trying to push all the SMT and earlier
it's not a good
stuff.
look.
It's not a good look at all.
Considering how that parent company gets a bad rap, sometimes justly, for ignoring earlier songs, taking them out does not help. But I will say, outside of the fact that they took out songs and that sucks, the fact that the new songs are there, the new songs are really, really good. I will say, the songs made specifically for Full Body, I think Full Body actually has a better overall soundtrack than the original Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very surprising because, man, I listened to the OST for Catherine back in the day all the time. Let's see. God, we've actually gone on this quite a while. We're almost at the hour mark. Melissa, what is your kind of finishing thoughts on Full Body? We've talked about it. We've played quite a bit of it. Do you plan on playing any more of it for a while, and would you recommend it to people?
I was playing a little bit more, but I guess since I never really beat it to begin with, I'm probably gonna get most of the other endings. I'd say if you've never really played it before, go ahead and get at least the main endings. But I would say if you don't really like playing the game over and over again, then maybe just play it once and then come back to it later.
Everyone, just please tweet at Fatal Flare. Just call her a big phony for not beating the game.
What?
Just make her feel good.
I did beat the game, just not all the endings.
I know. Well, no one should have to do that.
What? Get all the endings?
I don't know. Unless you really wanted to, it just feels like Catherine is one of those games. There are a few games I love hunting for trophies. There are some games when I look at their trophy list, I'm like, that's not fun.
Well, some of it's not fun, but some of it's pretty easy to do, that you can just skip all of the tower climbing and just go.
That's true.
And it'd take you 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I guess. See, because the tower climbing is almost my favorite part of the game. That's almost blasphemy to try and think about. So you would recommend it to I guess actually this is a good thing we should go into. Would you recommend it for newcomers? Which I'm gonna guess your answer is probably yes.
Recommend it for newcomers. New cucumbers.
Okay, now
Okay, now this brings up a better question, which actually kind of goes into something I've been feeling with The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
Mhm.
If you've played the original version of this game and you have no interest in any of the Rin or new content,
Mhm.
do you still recommend buying this game for $60?
I don't think that would be good. I think that you should probably wait if you're not really interested in playing it because of Ren, and you've already played it like completely before. I will wait.
Yeah, because it's kind of surprising, because I was talking to some people about how I love Link's Awakening, but it's like, it's a really good point, and one of my final points I want to say, I think it is worth, so this is a weird one. If you love the gameplay of Catherine, it is worth it to play it on a modern console. And one of the rare bits of praise that I actually haven't seen a lot of people say for it, it's one of Atlus's most fair games in terms of online streaming. They actually only block the new endings, and they only block once you get to the new content with Win. Which is really hilarious because it happened so late in the game. I was like, wait, was it not blocked before? Because I'm so accustomed to Persona 5 like blocking immediately.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, it was letting me play it. The little bits I do want to say, because I actually feel bad we haven't talked about this. If you pick Ren's ending, you actually get a bonus extra night level.
Yes.
Which is one of the best designed challenges in the whole game. Has one of my favorite song arrangements. And when Ren's angel / brother is coming at you, like with the way the game adds a new element, danger. It's just lasers. I think it also does like meteors. Like it's basically the equivalent of if you're playing Celeste right now, like how Celeste added like a new chapter to it. It's like the final epilogue in Celeste, but with Catherine. So I really loved that extra ending and that extra bit of content. It made going for Ren, even though it's a lot more out of the way, I appreciate Ren's ending probably more than C or K Catherine ever did for me on any previous playthroughs. Like, how did you feel about the last night?
I thought it was pretty cool. Like, the fact that the brother was shown as an angel, first I was like, oh, that's super intimidating. Because you could see how
we haven't talked about the... I thought we were getting close to ending.
And I was like, why are we skipping it over? Like, yeah, it looked super intimidating, and then, like, he's, like, chasing you down, and then at the end he just, like, explodes into a bunch of furry, weird aliens, and I'm just like,
Okay. I'm gonna say something that I normally haven't had such strong opinions on things since, like, there's a few series that I think if you cut out core elements could make them masterpieces.
Yeah.
My favorite example is Bleach would be a perfect manga series, or even anime, if it ended as soon as they rescue Rukia. Like, if that show cut out 80% of its story that happened after that moment, that'd be a way better series.
They would have been like, oh, but more money, you have to milk it.
Okay. So, I think that if they found a way to make the final level still playable, and we never found out that Rin is actually an alien and not a boy, I think the game would have an incredibly cooler ending. Because I'm not going to lie, when it ends like Melissa was saying, and you find out we basically find out these deities and angels that we've assumed are angels all these millennia are actually just pink minion ripoffs. And while it's a funny, like, har, you didn't see it coming, the way I've compared it with other people is it's like if they made the dog ending in Silent Hill 2 the canon ending. Like, it's a cute ending, but that's like the most content true ending you can get with Rin.
Yep.
Her being a dumb alien. Right? Like, I just know no one who's unlocked that and found that out and been like, yep, this was a satisfying way to end that character. Like, would you have preferred finding out that Ren was an alien and all of her brothers were a bunch of tiny, pink, dangerous weirdos? Or would it have been a lot more impactful if, after overcoming all of these nights and overcoming all of Ishtar's challenges, you ended up with Ren against all odds, even after finding out that Ren was a boy the whole time?
So you wouldn't have the whole alien thing?
No, yeah, you just take that whole out. Like, even add, like, add the extra final level on space. Instead of, like, the alien with it, just make it like Ishtar in a mech suit or whatever. Like, something even as crazy as that, just the fact that they're all aliens at the end just sucked so much of the goodwill in that game's ending for me.
I don't know, I mean, then it's like, so then what do you look like, Ren? And he's like, I don't care, doesn't matter.
Oh my god, I know.
That just makes me seem like Ren just looks like the ugliest little thing, and you'll never know.
I'm just hoping that out there somewhere, someone drew a picture of that drawing with Ren lifting her skirt up, and instead of a pee-pee, it's actually just one of her brother's antennas right there.
Did somebody actually draw that?
I hope so. They probably didn't, though. Yeah, it just did not do a lot for me to find out that her brothers were basically a bunch of knockoff dollar store Kirby's. That being said, I still loved the final extra ending. I really am amazed that the fact that Rin ended up being a boy was not handled horrifyingly bad. I think all the voice actors coming back was a super awesome touch. One little weird thing, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this. How did you feel the new animated cutscenes looked compared to the ones that were already in the base game? Okay, I'm apparently in the minority because I would love to hear what you guys think. I think they look super low budget compared to the old ones. They're still animated by A1 Productions. No, wait, not A1 Productions. It's Studio 4C. Like, Studio 4C went back and animated these new, like, for the most part, all the new cutscenes are basically either they're the endings, the stuff with Rin, or flashbacks with Kay Catherine.
Yeah. Was flashbacks were new too?
The flashbacks were all new. They were the game's attempt, because if you go back to the original game, there's very little Kay Catherine. So if you end up with her, your basically only real motivation to do that is, hey, I don't want to be a cheater.
Yeah.
So the point of the flashbacks was to kind of make you see, hey, they did have a loving relationship. It just, like, things have changed over time.
Right.
But yeah, I thought the animation quality difference was super night and day. Like, the fact that animated cutscenes from 2011 looked better than animated cutscenes from 2019.
I didn't think it was that big of a difference. I mean, like, if you would look at it, like, with a fine-tooth comb, you would probably be like, oh, yeah, this looks a lot different.
But, I will say this. It's not that all of them are bad. There are a few. I think the flashbacks look really cheap and lazy.
Yeah, those look cheap, but I thought the ones with Rin looked really good.
I'll say this, though, that was one of my favorite animated cutscenes. It's when you're going through Rin's true route, and there's the nightmare sequence C. Catherine has, where it's her and Kay Catherine murdering Rin and fighting against each other. That cutscene was fantastically animated. Like, the use of blood and, like, with the chainsaw and knife. Like, it was super over-the-top and cartoony, but I thought it was incredibly well-directed. But yeah, like, all those old stuff with Rin, and even some... Honestly, I'm sorry, not with Rin. I feel like, honestly, if it was a new animated cutscene that had Kay Catherine, I felt like it had less effort put into it, because she's probably the least popular.
Yeah. I feel like, because they made a new ending for her, kind of makes you feel like...
I didn't mind her new endings, I just thought a lot of her endings didn't... Like, the game still never added a good reason for me to want to stay with Kay Catherine, besides being faithful as Vincent.
Just, like... Most of the time, she just feels like she's so much better than Vincent. Like, she could do so much better. You know?
Paul's out there waiting. I still can't... You blew my mind that that's Paul. The whole time I thought this was just, like, her fucking manager from work. You blew my mind. Before we move on to questions and then end the show, because we've actually talked about Catherine a lot more than I thought we would, we want to do two quick things. Number one... I want to give a little bit of a shout out, because probably by the time you guys are watching this, the anniversary has passed. But the day we are recording this, September 30th, 2019, is the 5th anniversary of the North American release for, I don't know why I almost called it something very different, Today's the 5th North American anniversary for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, which, if you have ever hung around SMTN, you will know is one of our favorite games. We did countless hours of Fight Club, and I just wanted to give a shout out to that game for being super underloved and underplayed. But for all of those who did play and enjoy it, that is easily probably still up there as top 3 most memorable fighting games I've ever played in my life.
It's weird to me. I thought it came out in July or August. That was the original one, wasn't it?
That was the Japanese release, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got it a few months after, but you're right. P4A originally came out in
July.
August.
Oh yeah, you're right.
July for Japan.
It was August. It's so weird.
I have so many weird, vivid memories of. I know exactly where I was. I was at Panda Express on August. I think I was going to school at the time, and I snuck away to go pick up my copy at the mall.
I think with the second one, I didn't pre-order it or anything. I just showed up at GameStop before they shut that GameStop down, and I was like, yay.
Hey, if you guys want to take a trip down memory lane, go pick up your copy of Persona 4 Arena or Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Those manuals are thick with 3 C's. Those are great color manuals.
I'm so sad we don't make those anymore.
Hey, even the manual for Catherine, the original one, was fantastic. And then you open up Catherine Full Body and then you got a legal slip. Yeah, a little fart noise comes out.
Yeah, it's they only just don't do it anymore because waste of paper, and you can just have a digital manual, but it just sucks.
Sadly, the real reason is because everyone else is okay with not doing it. Then it's even less reason.
Because it's more expensive to do it.
But for publishers like that, it's really pennies on the dollar. But I also understand it because it's just
whatever.
But I still have a great love of manuals. So yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Ultimax. Somewhere out there, Waffles is still leaving his PS3 on, playing show and training mode. Also another fantastic memory I always have of Ultimax is Melissa playing at TaioCon, just totally drunk out of her mind.
I wasn't that drunk. All
right. Important clarification, any normal level of drunk for Melissa, because she is a tiny, small girl, is a very high level of intoxication for you.
It depends on what it is.
That's true. You do a lot of Smirnoff Ice. You're a big Smirnoff girl.
It could be the smallest amount, and I'd still get loopy if I don't have enough sleep, too.
I have not had alcohol in years.
Yikes.
After I started dating Mary, it's so funny. Just now, I just never do it. It just never comes up.
I always thought that you guys would just drink sometimes casually, but you just don't. You just drink so much bubble tea, it's going out of style.
Oh, we love ourselves some bubble tea. But speaking of bubble tea or boba tea, depending on how much of a cool guy you want to be, we've got some fantastic listener questions from our Facebook group, which, if you didn't know, Shin Megami Tensei Network has a Facebook group, which you can find just by searching Shin Megami Tensei
We've always had it. Forever.
It's true. We've had it for 7 years, and we finally hit the 5,000 member mark.
It's amazing.
That's when you're supposed to bring out your Kermit the Frog impression. Go, yay! Also, if you don't know, we are also on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at SMT Network, where we reached over 1,000 followers this year. Yay!
Yay! Remember when you said we were going to record at NakaCon and that didn't happen?
There are many reasons behind that. And one day, I might tell people who aren't Melissa. I promise.
You didn't tell me why?
Oh, it's a big secret. You got to be behind the certain levels of SMT to know about it. It's a big deal.
Will you tell me later?
I'll tell you later over Morse code. Our first question of our reunion podcast, which is funny because it's really just a podcast, comes from Stephen Yip. He says, "Does anyone actually remember the entire story from almost a decade ago?" I'll say this for myself, and he's talking about Catherine. I'm surprised how much I forgot about the small character interactions. I remembered a lot of the big beats, but as I mentioned when I kind of said I forgot, I guess actually, it's not fair to say that I forgot. I guess I just misremembered how much I enjoyed Vincent, because I was amazed at how much I did not like Vincent as I played through most of Full Body.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I don't know, I kind of thought that I didn't really like Catherine with a C when I first started playing. the new version, because I thought, like, she's, like, a skank, like, a lot of a skank, but then, like, started playing it, and then you get the new ending, and it's like, aw, she's actually pretty cute, and not like a skank, but still a skank.
She becomes less skanky when she straightens her hair. It's the true skank powers.
Like, it's not confirmed that, like, she still is, like, a succubus, but, like...
Once a succubus, probably always
Probably.
You'd
and then they have all these kids. And then, have you seen there's this image where they, like, edit it out so it's, like, Joker with all the P5 girls?
I did, which... I mean, hey, people got a lot of time on their hands to think about what relationship from P5 would have Morgana in it, which one would have 9,000 kids.
They're like, Morgana's now my child. I'm like, oh, come on.
So, Steven also said, I think I'm answering the question the same, but I will say answering questions now, talking about the questions when you complete each night, says, answering the questions now as a parent of a 5-year-old is different way back when I was dating my now wife, which I can super imagine. I find myself getting really annoyed at Vincent. Thank you for not letting me be the only one.
I feel like I'm annoyed at him too sometimes, because it's just like, do you still care about this woman or what? Just because it doesn't seem like they're on the same level. Like, I also didn't like how Catherine with the K was all like, I'm pregnant. And then she finds out she's not. And then she, like, keeps it a secret. And it's like, why didn't you just tell him right away instead of stringing him along? Like, that was just a dick move.
I was just waiting for the song Hose Man to start playing at that.
It's like, oh, actually, I'm not pregnant. It's like, things that I could have known yesterday.
Also, final little thing Steven ended up putting that I wanted to throw in, because he's one of the few people I know actually playing Persona Q2. He says, I'm finding myself struggling to play through Persona Q2. I don't know if anyone else is having the same problem. I have a 45-minute commute to work, to and from work, and I should be able to find time to put in an hour and a half each day, but I find myself instead rather listening to podcasts or watching YouTube.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens to me, too. I watch more YouTube than playing video games a lot. Like, on my breaks or whatever, you know?
See, I'm so usually on my breaks, I'm always like, get my game backlog done as fast as I can. I've not been able to sink into Persona Q2. I plan on actually doing that soon for the podcast. So I'll be able to let you know. Hopefully you can get its hooks into me more than has most people, because, man, I feel like Persona Q2, I could say, hey, that game came out last year, and people would say, oh, that sounds right, and then people would be like, oh, wait, it was this year, and then totally have no idea.
Yep.
The joy of releasing a 3DS game in Japanese only in North America. Not a recipe for business success. Marcus Brown says, this is not a question as much as it is an order. Everyone listening to this, please come to TaiyoCon 2020. We need to make sure that this is a real thing that happens, and we're not just
ain't gonna happen.
So if you live near Arizona,
if you live there,
let us know.
That'd be
if
great.
you're gonna be there, and also let Melissa know.
Let Melissa know that she's an asshole.
Beats Catherine. No, until she actually beats Catherine on the hardest difficulty with one finger on a DDR dance pad, then she can come.
Okay.
Robert Dogman ended up asking how we felt about the reveal. I feel like I made myself pretty clear in terms of I was actually surprisingly happy about Ren being a boy, but also hating the alien aspect. How would you sum up your opinions quickly on Ren's reveal? Both being a boy and then being an alien.
I thought it was alright. I mean, they could have been taken a lot worse. I mean, it was like, so Vincent goes to Erica, it's like, you knew? And it's like, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that Erica would be the one to know.
Yeah. But, like, I thought that the best part of the ending with Ren was, like, at the wedding. Was it at the wedding? No, it was at the party for, like, the concert or something. And then, like...
Oh,
and
the
then,
space
was
ending
it, like,
is terrible.
Johnny?
The fact that their ending is just, we're going to live our lives as
producers. It's funny.
Music,
I thought it was
makers.
Funny. And then
the only part of that ending that's good. Do you know what the only part of that
wasn't
ending
it Johnny
is that's good?
that hooks up with the alien babe?
No. It's No, yes. Sorry, I was gonna say Orlando.
No,
Orlando.
It was
Orlando
Johnny.
does not do that. Yes, Orlando actually. Johnny going to the bar, hitting on this purple alien as like he finally found his true love is the funniest thing ever, if not for the fact that he's like shown in the game as being the most fickle guy ever. But then as soon as he like does international space travel, he's like, oh my god, I love you. Also, just saying, goes back to our space colony theory, no one is weirded out by the fact that there are aliens. They are only weirded out when they see the angels.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So is that
Weird
like a confirmed thing that it's a space colony?
I think it came out from the art book.
Really?
That it's a space colony, but I've seen a lot of stuff
like in that
that
small art book that we got?
No. Like I'm talking like the big Venus one from like the proper big boy.
Oh, we don't have that in English so yet.
No, we don't.
Probably won't, but who knows?
Trust Google. Andre Harrell says, do you think this is how Catherine should have been in the original? I'll let you answer this first.
I feel like it could have been if they had worked longer on it and maybe it would have come out in 2012 or something like that. But, I mean, it's like without that ending, it just kind of seems a little short.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, hey, we want to try and port this to the PS4 and Vita as quickly as we can without it affecting any like budget or like dev stuff. Like I would say this in a very cynical answer, but it's still kind of true. This is the closest I've ever felt to an Atlas game kind of feeling like a cash grab.
True.
Like it's still a great game, but like you compare it to all their other like
enhanced like
versions.
Golden and Royal. I mean, Royal
even like
seems like there's so much more.
Even the Devil Survivor games on 3DS, those Devil Survivor like ones added way more content and story.
I mean, I don't know how much they wanted to add, but it kind of seems like they could have added all that stuff at the beginning. But I probably bet they were just like, oh, we want to put it on, HD 4K or whatever. And, like, sell it again, I guess, because they don't have anything else until Royal comes out. Because what other Atlas games came out this year?
Actually, quite a lot. But
nobody really cares about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'll be its own kind of topic. But, yeah, Atlas is in a very odd space in 2019.
Yeah.
It's funny. I feel like what used to be Sega was way less of a big deal compared to Atlas. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I feel like now with Yakuza, I feel like Sega is a way bigger deal than Atlas is.
I mean, I'm glad that Sega bought them because I think they're in a better place now.
Can I just say, though, really quick?
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the community manager, I'm forgetting his name, and I'm really sorry. I think it's Zach something. Mm-hmm. Was tweeting about all the games Atlas and Sega had put out in 2018 and had coming up like, I'm so proud of all these series, and was listing all their big ones. And then on his follow-up tweet, he was like, I forgot to mention Sonic. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys.
Let's be real. Let's be real, guys. We all love Sonic the Hedgehog. He doesn't have the most ironclad games.
The best game that came out was not a game that was even made by Sega.
But yeah, the fact that actual Sega employees forget that Sonic is a thing, just I find infinitely funny. Andre also asked a little bit of a follow-up question. How long did your first playthrough take you? Mine took me, I think, and I was going very slow, playing a lot of Rapunzel. Which, by the way, there is a lot of new content in Rapunzel. Do not sleep on that. If you like the puzzle aspect of it, there's a ton. Yeah, yes.
Like, I tried playing it, and it was like, why is it, like, not letting me play anymore? It was just dumb.
Well, remember, when you beat the game, you get unlimited credits, which is nice, and that does roll over to the
well, I did, but, like, it still seemed like it wasn't letting me, like, I would get to a certain point, I wouldn't run out of, like, lives or anything like that. It was just, like, die. You'd just, like, die.
What you're saying is Tangled from Kingdom Hearts 3 is a better game than Bundled.
But, like, I need, like, assistance. I don't know. I'm a baby.
So, Big Baby Melissa, how long did your first playthrough take you?
Maybe, like, 4 hours?
And also, I feel like I did not actually say how long mine took. Mine took 13 hours. I feel like I got distracted on Rapunzel. So mine was very much longer than Melissa.
It's because I didn't play a lot of Rapunzel because it sucked.
Important final 2 questions. I'm going to change these up. First one comes from fellow mod as well.
Mm-hmm.
Torrin Rodriguez says, why did Netflix take out Fly Me to the Moon for Evangelion, Melissa?
Because it didn't have the rights.
Because remember, Netflix got a lot of money. They don't got that much.
They don't got that much money. They don't want to spend it on that because they think people won't care, but we actually do care.
Just remember, Fly Me to the Moon, please.
It's expensive.
How long until that song is in public domain? Let's like the original
check.
one.
Let's see.
I mean, I don't want to
make
Netflix
90 years?
feel bad. Yeah, that should be right. Although Mickey Mouse makes copyright law.
Who was the original?
I will say this, guys.
1965.
I think.
No, it was.
Just for a little point.
1954.
Wasn't that Frank Sinatra? Oh, okay.
So
wasn't it Frank Sinatra or am I crazy?
No, I don't think he wrote it. That was a different version. Yeah, so 1954 by Bart Howard. So it's gonna be another 40 years. Who knows? Because I know songs and things from the 20s are already going into public domain. So it'll be a little while.
This, though. If you want to make Netflix feel bad, everyone, just remember to shame them that a Wii U game with a shoestring budget called Bayonetta 2 could afford Fly Me to the Moon, and Netflix can't.
Yeah, it's because they made their own arrangement, and they didn't want to make rights to the arrangement that they had in there. Because if you didn't know, there's 20 different arrangements in there.
And that is the funny thing. If you are interested, in all seriousness, I think almost every different ending has its own different version. That would be such a license.
Probably, yeah, because they could have just licensed the original one and just played it over and over again. But you know how the fans would be all "Ooh, why didn't you spend the money to get all of them?" Because that probably would have cost them who knows, $500,000. I don't know.
I'm going to say one joking point after I say a serious point. For the first one, serious point, at least if you have Netflix in Japan or trick Netflix with a VPN that you are in Japan, you can. They have the licensing right to stream that song in Japan. So it's not impossible. You just have to go through server proxy dumb stuff. My dumb thing, I will say, at least they didn't replace the ending song with the original opening song from Toonami's run of Naruto. That'd be very bad. Our final and most controversial question comes from up-and-coming TikTok star John Baker. Says, thoughts on Atlas's silence for SMT5? This will be our final question of the night. Melissa, I'll let you go first because I could say a lot, but hopefully I won't because my throat hurts.
Okay. You want to know what the final question was?
No, I'm saying, what are your thoughts on Atlas's silence for SMT5?
I feel like right now they're just trying to focus on Royal, and then maybe sometime next year they'll have a new trailer or something like that. So I know it's definitely not dead, because if it were dead, it would piss off a ton of people. But I think that they're just trying, because I think they were doing it with a different engine or something like that, so it was just taking a long time, and maybe they had to go back and rework a whole bunch of stuff. But I think that definitely next year we should get a new trailer, and if not, that would suck a lot.
Melissa, I would like to congratulate you. I give you a lot of flack sometimes. You actually did a fantastic job for the layman out there for actually explaining why. You basically answered almost everything I would say. The game got announced too early in terms of for fans.
All they had was that one clip, and then they did.
Well, there are technically 2 trailers for it, but they're very
and we haven't even seen what the protagonist looks like even.
So what I'm going to say, though, is it's important to note that these were revealed at the launch of the Switch, or a lot of, if you go to
what was it, 2016?
No,
2015.
that was 2017.
Oh,
2017.
you're right. That was Switch's first year.
At the launch of systems, there's a lot of announcements that go silent for years. Even like with the Wii U, having Tokyo Mirage Sessions took so long to finally come out after its reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, SMT5 is not going to have as drastic of a change from its reveal to what it actually is. But you brought up some great points as well. It is a team who has primarily been using the 3DS's engine for a very long time, and they are now working with Unreal Engine 4,
which takes a long time. Like, you see how long it took for Kingdom Hearts 3, and that was on Unreal. So,
well, I mean, it's not really the engine's fault about why it would, but yes, there are a lot of different stuff for it. I would say the quick and easy answer, and this is not even a joke, I have many friends who do this. If you ever are sitting out there thinking, God, it feels like it's taken so long for SMT5 to come out, are we going to see it at TGS? Are we going to see it at this presentation? Are we going to see it at this award show?
Mm-hmm.
Our next time we see it will 99% be on a random reveal that is all about this, if not a Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it'd be a Nintendo Direct, but it probably could be. But it will not be tied to anything major. And if you ever feel like you want an update on SMT5, I have many people who reach out to me on Twitter. Either hit me up at Torchwood4SP or on the podcast Twitter at SMT Network. I will let people know, because it's so funny, when all these events are coming up, like the Nintendo Direct or TGS, people are like, oh man, we're going to get info. Like, no, you're not. You're not. They have, like Melissa said, they have a game coming out next month.
Yeah.
Why would they talk about this?
They wouldn't start talking about SMT5 now when they're still talking a little bit about Royal, which is not out for another month.
Yeah, and the Switch isn't in need for more RPGs.
No,
they
just had Dragon Quest come out.
Yeah, like, the Switch is doing just fine. They're not dying for updates on games. I will say this, though.
Yeah.
We are going to end the show soon, but I'd like to end on a big happy note. Besides thanking everyone for listening, if you are listening, whether this be your first show, God help you, if you made it this far, your first show. Thank you, Melissa, for joining me again to talk about Catherine in the full-body butt-cheek edition. Thank you, Atlas, we give you a lot of crap, but you know what? At the end of the day, you've always done your best to make great games. I said I was going to end this on a positive note, but I did not mention, Atlas, your DLC for Full Body is actually disgusting, and you should be ashamed that you have worse DLC than your Japanese version, which used to be worse than anything else. That's not how we're going to end the show, though, but I had to put that out there. Atlas, you have terrible, terrible, terrible DLC practices.
Didn't they just make it all free in Japan, and we got to pay for it?
No, a lot of it was pre-order bonuses. Like the Joker DLC and the Nero glasses were included with various editions. But we're not going to end on that negative note. We're going to end on a great note. Melissa, do you own a Nintendo Switch?
Do I own one? Yeah.
Listeners out there, if you have a Nintendo Switch, do yourself a favor. Mark January 2020, because that is when Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore comes out.
No, thank you.
And we are going to need every single one of you to pick up a copy.
No, thank you.
As many copies as possible. Buy 50. Send them all to Melissa for pictures. It is a fantastic game that is underlooked, hated by a lot of girls in Wisconsin.
No.
A lot of negative Nancys.
No, thank you.
So we're going to do this then. For our little question / response, if you actually did listen to this whole episode, are you excited for Tokyo Mirage Sessions coming to Switch?
Absolutely not.
Spencer says yes.
Absolutely not.
Melissa says absolutely not. So let us know how wrong Melissa is and how correct Spencer is.
The only person that agrees with me is Marcus, and everybody.
Marcus has terrible
He has
taste.
wonderful taste.
Just terrible taste. No. But either way, thank you for listening. Please pick up Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
No.
Let us know what you thought of Catherine if you haven't already. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Torchwood4SP. You can also find my Instagram under that same account. Follow the podcast on Twitter at SMT Network. You can find our Facebook group by searching the same name, Shin Megami Tensei Network. And this episode is probably just going to go up as kind of like a pilot run, so do not expect any RSS feeds super soon, but you will find it up on my YouTube channel, and there will be a direct download link for people on Twitter and Facebook. Melissa, where can people find you and tell you how wrong your opinions are?
You can find me at Twitter at Fatal Flare as well as Instagram under the same thing.
What do you use more?
Probably Twitter. 'Cause I don't.
How much do you? How much has your love of Yakuza grown over the last year and 2 months since we recorded a podcast?
I think it's about the same. I haven't really played that much, but like once the new ones come out.
I bet Melissa's the kind of guy who, when Yakuza 7 got announced, she thought it looked gay.
No, I thought it looked really cool.
She probably thought it looked really dumb. She's like, I hate RPGs. I only like punching guys.
No. RPGs are
not
cool.
True?
That's not true.
RPGs are real cool.
I thought...
Arla, are you saying RPGs aren't cool?
No, they're so cool. I don't know, but it's weird because like I'm more excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake than Yakuza 7.
Well, as long as your love for Tokyo Mirage Session still burns, I'll
no
to say goodbye on this podcast.
No thanks. I'll pass.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for
listening. Goodbye.
How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network. Link, Melissa, what's the number?
112?
Oh, so wrong. I'll give you 2 more guesses because I'm going to edit it out anyway, but I want to have a good blooper that's not about Jesus.
108?
You're cold. Real cold.
Like higher?
Very higher.
130?
Even higher. We are at 145.
Really?
Can you believe that? Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Now, as punishment for getting the number wrong, you have to now be quiet for 145 seconds.
Okay. Go.
Alright. Melissa, did you know that at one point a dedicated port of a popular Yakuza game was going to come to the Vita? And they actually had it running?
You mean the PSP games?
No, a native port from the PS3 was going to come to the PS Vita. Do you know what Yakuza game they had up and running?
The first one.
Nope.
Second one.
What Yakuza game would you ever want to play the least?
Dead Souls.
Bingo. There is a shot of Yakuza Dead Souls running on the Vita, and I've never gone from, oh man, I would have loved Yakuza on the Vita, to, ooh, yeah, you can keep that. That's okay.